Yo guys, it is Captain Thorpe here, and it is that time of year again. Time to do my official Premier League predictions. Oh yes, the Premier League season is only 2 days away, and it is my job to predict the outcome of the league table by the end of the season. But before that, I have a quick announcement to make. Oh yes, I will be doing Deadline Day live. Yes, as we all know, tomorrow the transfer window shuts, and I want to be doing a live stream, my second ever live stream, just as the transfer window shuts, which is at 5 o'clock. So I'll be streaming between 4 and 5. This is only my second ever because the first one was, of course, that Champions League semi-final draw, and that reached in 28,500 views by the end, and about 200 at any given time. I'm not expecting anywhere near that level of support, but please, if you do have the time, please drop in and watch some of it if you can. I'll be going through all the signings that's been going on throughout the transfer window, and of course reacting to the live transfers on deadline day itself. I'll be going into some depth into the Liverpool signings, of course, obviously my team. So I've got some FIFA footage of them in action, so that will be included. I've got a couple of countdowns that I'll be making later on today to be used in the live stream. So the top 20 Premier League clubs, as in like how well they've done in the transfer window, and of course the top 20 signings overall from any clubs. So yeah, it should be a good stream. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But on to today's video, and let's start at the bottom of the Premier League with 20th place, and I'm going to go for Cardiff. Cardiff were a newly promoted side. They got automatic promotion, to be fair to them, but I can't see them doing that well in the Premier League. I said this about Huddersfield last season, and I was proved to be wrong. But hey, you know, I could be wrong about them. I was wrong about Huddersfield. I could be wrong about Cardiff. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, in 19th place, I'm going to go for Huddersfield. And I said Huddersfield would finish bottom last season. They managed to stay up, but a lot of that was thanks to a massive Lersel save on the last day of the season with his fingertips. I just remember that save. It was incredible. I can't see them getting as lucky this season. I don't think they'll do as well, and I think they will go down in their second season in the Premier League. But again, I've predicted them to go down before, and they've stayed up, so I could easily be wrong. The third and final team I've said to get relegated is Watford. It's an interesting one. Not many people are predicting Watford to go down, but I think it's probably about their time. They keep changing the manager, changing the players. They don't seem to be that good a team, that solid anymore, and I could see them slipping down, especially with the rise of some of these other clubs around them in the relegation scrap, because there are quite a lot of good teams in this Premier League. The 20 teams in this Premier League is potentially the strongest it's been in years, because the 20 teams that we've got this season is a very high level playing field. So it would be interesting to see who goes down. It should be a really tight relegation scrap, but a team that I think is going to stay up is 17th is Bournemouth. Again, Bournemouth, they're not the best team. They've not had the best season last time out. I think they did well in the end, but you know, they didn't do that well throughout. They've got some decent players, so I think they've got enough to stay up. And Eddie Howe, of course, is a great manager, but I don't think that they will be doing it in flying colours. I think they will be in the middle of a relegation scrap, but they will stay up. And speaking of another team that will be in the middle of the relegation scrap, in 16th place, I'm going for Newcastle. Yeah, I think they've signed no one. You know, Rafa Benitez hasn't really got the backing that he so wanted, so I can't see them pushing on from their top half finish last season. I can see them slipping down the table, not getting relegated, but not doing well either, and I think they're going to finish in somewhere about 16th. Into 15th, and I'm going to go for Brighton. Brighton are, again, they're a decent team. They had a good end to the season. Glenn Murray was scoring well. Izquierdo was good. They've got, like, Gross and stuff. Like, they've got some pretty decent players, but have they got enough to challenge the likes of, I don't know, Southampton, Crystal Palace, those kind of teams that are just a level ahead of them for me? And I think Brighton, as much as they're a good team managed by a good manager in Chris Houston, I think that they will have enough to stay up, but not enough to push on. Moving on, and we are to our second newly promoted team in Wolves, who I think will finish 14th. 14th place for Wolves will be a very good season for them, back in the Premier League where they belong. They had a great season last time out, winning the Championship, and they got some good players, and they made some good signings. Got likes of Afobe, obviously from last season they have Neves. They've got a good team, and I think that they will push on this season and get a decent mid-table finisher. 14th for them. And moving on into the other newly promoted side, Fulham, who actually came up via the playoffs. I think that they will do the best of all the newly promoted sides. 13th place, and I tell you what, the signings they've made, especially one of them, Andre Schürrle. Yes, he's only a loan deal, but for 2 years, and he only went to the club because they were showing a lot of interest in him. And I tell you what, Fulham have done very, very well to get their hands on him. He's a very, very good player with Premier League experience. I can see him bagging, double figures goals this season, so I could see that really helping Fulham to push on into mid-table back in the Premier League. So 13th place for Fulham. 12th place, I'm going to give it to Southampton. They narrowly avoided relegation last season, but I think they will kick on much better than that season in this coming one, because they've got some good players. I don't know how they were dragged into relegation battle last season. They were just really unlucky with results. But when they've got injuries going their way, when they've got the luck of the draw really going their way, the rub of the green going their way, then they will be able to push on and they will get at least the 12th place finish. I think maybe even further up the table. But to keep it safe, I'm going to go for 12th. Next, we have our first European team, and it is Burnley, because I can't really find anything for Lee, in 11th place. And I think that because they've got Europa League football, they might even go out in the group stage, to be fair. They might not be in it for that long, but the squad probably isn't really deep enough, especially considering they've barely signed anyone. They might have even signed no one, actually. So considering that, and the fact that they've got to play in Europa League might mean that they're going to struggle in the Premier League also this season until they're knocked out of the Europa League. But let's be fair about this. They've got a really good team. They finished 7th place last season, so I can't see them absolutely obliterated. I can't see them getting dropped right into the relegation places or anything further down. I think 11th place is fair. I can't see them doing as well as last season, but I don't think it will be a disaster. I think it'll still be a mid-table finish, and 11th place is what I'm going with. Into the top half. And we have 10th place, Crystal Palace. This is I'm predicting them to do better than last season. I think they've got some great players, and they've made some decent signings. They've got some decent players. I think, especially with Roy Hodgson, and they should be able to kick on with him. They should move up into the top half of the table, and Crystal Palace shouldn't really have any trouble doing that. In 9th, we have Leicester City. And they finished 9th last season as well, but they got rid of Mahrez. Yes, they've made some good signings in defence, they've made some okay attacking signings, at least they're actually spending in the transfer window, but they got rid of one of their only 4 good players, along with obviously Vardy, Kasper Schmeichel, and probably Ndidi. Also with Ian Etcher as well. So they have got some decent players. So I can't see them slipping into the bottom half of the table, but I can't see them pushing on, challenging for the top 6. Because if they lose that creative spark, I can't see Vardy scoring as many goals this season without Mahrez behind him. So Vardy might struggle a little bit, and the rest of the team may also struggle as a result. They will still do okay. I can't see them, absolutely falling to pieces, but I think maybe another 9th place finish would be fair for Leicester. Into 8th, we have Everton. And I think that despite coming 8th last season, they've signed only Richarlison. They've not done that well in the transfer window. They're not a great team. I think 8th place is more than enough for them. I can't even see them breaking into the top 7. They're nowhere near the top 6 level of ability. Yes, they've got Marco Silva as manager now, so that's an incentive to keep them in the top half of the table. But Everton are not the team that they used to be, or to be fair, the team they ever were. Really, they're never really challenging the top 6, and now they most certainly aren't going to challenge at all. Into 7th place, and I'm going to go with the Hammers, West Ham. They finished 13th last season, but they made some incredible signings. They've done one of the best of any team in the transfer window. They signed the likes of Yarmolenko, of Jack Wilshere, Felipe Anderson. They made some great signings, and yes, I know last season I said that they would come 6th place, and they ended up finishing about 13th, but this season I think they really will get into the top of the table and start to challenge the top 6, in my opinion. Of course, they're keeping the likes of Arnautovic from last season, who really performed. They've got a good, solid set of players. They've got a good manager in David Moyes. They're a pretty good team, and I can see them challenging the top 6, but not quite breaking in there and staying in 7th. Into 6th place we go, and I have put Tottenham in 6th. Now, they haven't signed anyone, and they've got Champions League football to deal with, which might not be brilliant for them. They might get an injury. They were lucky with injuries last season, but they could easily get an injury to the likes of either Harry Kane or Christian Eriksen or Heung-min Son. If they lose one of those players, then they're screwed completely. So I think that they will only be able to hold on to a 6th place finish, and they won't make the top 4. And their other team that won't make the top 4 is their North London rivals in Arsenal. I think they will finish 5th. Yes, they got a new manager, and yes, they made some good defensive signings, which was necessary, and they've still got a pretty good attack. But are they as good as any of the other 4 teams in the league? Probably not, to be honest. They're still not that good. There's no guarantee that the manager will even work wonders as it is, and I can't see them challenging the likes of the Manchester clubs, Chelsea and Liverpool to the top 4, so I don't think that Arsenal will be able to do it this season, and they will need at least a season under their belt with a new manager to get used to playing under him in the Premier League. So I don't think they'll finish in the top 4 this season. A 5th place finish for Arsenal. Into the top 4 we go, and I have gone for Manchester United. I think United will get into the top 4 this season. They came second last season, but they were 19 points behind Man City, so they didn't challenge them at all. I think the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool will overtake them this season. Chelsea, of course, with a new manager, and Liverpool with all the signings they've made. So I think that they will overtake United, and United, having only signed Fred as the main signing, will be stuck in 4th place. But let's move up into the top 3, and in 3rd place I'm going to go for Chelsea, which I think there's only really 2 winners this season. It's only between City and Liverpool who will win the league. I can't see Chelsea challenging them, but I can see them finishing above the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham and United. So I think Chelsea under the new manager might kick on, get back into the top 4. But I don't think that they will be in the title race, because the title race for me will be between 2 teams, and that will be, of course, City and Liverpool. Who do I think will come second? Who do I think will win the league? Oh, come on, do you even need to ask me that? Of course I know who's going to win the league. Second place is Manchester City, and of course that means that 1st place is Liverpool. City have only signed Mahrez, but they've got a hell of a season anyway, so they don't really need to make that many signings. They've not lost many players. And Liverpool, however, have made 4 big signings, brilliant in pre-season. They beat City in pre-season and destroyed United. They've signed the likes of Keita, Alisson, who we really needed, Fabinho and Shaqiri. Made some brilliant signings, and potentially the best signings of any Premier League club. So that is what I think is going to propel us up the league table into 1st place and win our first league title in nearly 30 years. How brilliant will that be? Let me know what you guys think. Your predictions are in the comments down below. Who's going to win the league? Who's going to get relegated? If you agree with me, please hit the like button. If you don't agree with me, hit the like button anyway. I don't mind. We're all inclusive on this channel. Please don't forget to drop into the live stream tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys later. Adios.